As quilters, we love to quilt, but what happens when we can't? What happens if there isn't time? Work gets busy, our schedule gets filled, the kids need us, they have projects they need to finish, we have to cook dinner, there's family, there's all kinds of commitments in our lives every day that we have to deal with. Sometimes we even get sick. Well, that's this for me. I'm Lea Louise, and Inspired Quilting by Lea Louise. And it's been a heck of a week, and God forbid any of you should get what I've had, but I'm through it. I'm sipping my Pedialyte, and life is good. But I want to talk to you about what to do when you're not quilting. There are times that we just want to get in there and do it. There are other times we don't necessarily have enough time to get into a project. But it's fun to plan projects. It's fun to get inspired. It's fun to get the ideas flowing. And I want to show you some of the things that I do, some of the techniques, the ideas, the way I kind of plan out where I'm going with fabric and such. And there's some great free patterns out there I want to share with you. So we're going to do a hands-on here today, and we're going to look through some fabric because you know I may have been sick, but never too sick to look at my fabric. We visited for a while. We had some chats and thoughts about what we can make, and so I'm really excited about some of these ideas. And like I said, I've got some free patterns I'm going to share with you that I found online that are gorgeous. I'm focusing on the flying geese. We did the No Waste flying geese not too long ago, and I'd love to do another quilt with that. And it's such an easy block. You can scale it large or small, multiple sizes in the same quilt, but we're going to get some quilting planned. Come on, join me, let's quilt. Oh, and please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I need the boost today. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Now let's take a look at some fabric and get some great quilting ideas together. Well, here's some of the fabric that kept me company, and I have some really fun ideas. Like I said, I've focused on the flying geese as the pattern that I want to use, or I should say the block, because the flying geese block is so versatile. There's so much you can do with it. The biggest thing is that you need contrast because you're going to have your triangle, which is your geese, and the background, which some call the wing. I'm not sure, but anyways, it's a triangle and two little triangles, and you need the contrast between there in order to see the pattern. And so in doing that, you know, I love my low volumes, I love my brights, and I had some bundles that I bought that I haven't tapped into yet. So I just want to show you sort of how to get started, what to do. We want to make a quilt. Let's get some fabric and start. First thing, here's a Tula Pink. Now, I have some firsts here, some firsts that I've not done before, and Tula Pink is one of them. I've never quilted with her fabric. I've admired them. I think the colors are gorgeous. I saw this one, and just all those bright spring colors really, really worked for me. Plus, of course, there's a beautiful teal, and that always gets me. So I have these fabrics, and what's nice is some great bolds, but look at these wonderful, I don't want to say low volume, but low contrast, high contrast, low value, because the fabrics are lighter, they're almost pastel. You're going to get really good contrast between your bolds and your lights, and this would work out really well for that. And it's a wonderful colors, and I think there's like 24 different pieces, so there's 6 yards of fabric here. That's going to go a long ways. The only thing for me is I would want a little more teal, just because that's what I do. And you know, I can always bring in a batik like this, which would work well because it has the white, the creamy white. It has almost exactly the same teal, so I can bring some of that in. Of course, I can also use more of this in the teal and kind of fussy cut a little bit. But the other thing is, like a blender pack in this, there's kind of some teal colors. Let me bring this in on the screen a little closer. This is really pretty. And this is just a selection of assorted batiks. A lot of these are from Sassafras Lane. I haven't purchased from them before, but I found some wonderful bundles from them, and they are sassafras-lane.com. and I'll put this here so you can see their website. I'm not an affiliate, so I'm not pushing them. But if you see bundles here that you like or appeal to you, you may like what they have. But we have 32 fat quarters. Oh my gosh, 8 yards of fabric, all batiks in these wonderful colors. And again, look, we got a teal or two in here. So when I'm looking at fabric, I like to have multiple things with me to see what can sort of go together. I'm not a purist in that all K facet can only be K facet or tulip pink or whatever the case may be. I used to be. Oh my goodness, if I was doing a batik quilt, nothing but batiks, but I've come a long ways, so that's a really good thing. And then I have these, another sassafras. These are fun, and I'm going to hold it up close so you can see. There's a lot of little dots, kind of metallic dots. And this is a bundle of 26 fat quarters. It's called Speckled. So the fabric itself, I'm going to show you this one. The fabric itself has multiple colors, and then it has this little gold metallic sprinkled in throughout there as well. Now, you see this one's pulled out. When I was looking at this fabric, remember when I made this 8-pointed star with a K facet? And I got this background fabric from SewRenewable.com. And they're the group that gets fabric from quilters who no longer quilt. Various reasons, they acquire it and they sell it. They're online, they're at shows, and they're wonderful. And if you have a fabric you're looking for, you let them know. If they find it, they'll contact you. So I'd really suggest that you go online and see what they have. They're obviously potentially going to have some vintage fabrics. They had a lot of current things that I've recently seen at Joann's. So there's a lot there, and the price is great. I think everything was like $8 a yard, which is great if you're getting some good quilting fabrics. But back to this. When I was making this, I didn't have enough of this to make more than a dozen blocks. And I really wanted to do like 16 or 20. And I thought, all right, I'm going to find out if I can get some more. Well, I haven't been able to. I thought, well, maybe I can do something a little different. And I thought if I did a center group of stars with this background and did a little 1.5 inch border around it like a lattice, and then did another group with a different background, because see, this kind of does that. It's a pinkier color, and maybe this pinker one might even work better, I think. But be flexible in what you choose and be willing to step out there and say, okay, I can change my mind and I can try something a little different. And, use your inspiration, get inspired and be creative. You have some wonderful ideas and you know what fabrics you like. So put them together and you're going to be happy. Oh, and by the way, we have more teals. So I'm not going to have a problem adding some teals to this. But this is kind of where I go with these fabrics. But let's take a quick look. I did want to show you this too, since I showed them. And here we go. Where are they? They are therightfabric.com. And this is a half-yard cut. And these are all batiks. And they had some wonderful, wonderful fabrics that I really liked. And I grabbed a few. And these, look at how these fit in with a lot of what I already have. You can tell I buy the colors that I like. And it's not so much about who designed it, who's manufacturing it. It's the pattern, it's the color, it's the design, all of that. And that's what attracts me to fabric. But that's me. And whatever you do is what's going to guide you in your process of selecting quilts, quilts to make, as far as the fabric, the pattern. So once you kind of break down what your process is, then you can fine tune it and be able to be just maybe a little more adventurous, because that's where it gets interesting. Now, I'm going to pause here just a moment. I want to show you the first free pattern that I found online. It's absolutely gorgeous. So here's the first flying geese that I found, and it is just absolutely stunning. It's not practical for what I want to do, but when I see a pattern like this that really attracts me, I look at it and I say, what is it that grabs me? And the first thing, there's two components to this. There's a design on this side and a design on this side. So they're different, and it's not straight down the middle. Straight down the middle. It's a 2-to-3 ratio, which I love. When you balance things in an unbalanced way, it works really well. And you notice that this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So 3 rows are in individual squares, and then the 2 rows make up the geese. And in doing that, you have a beautiful layout. Now, the difficulty with this for what I want to do is the number of fabrics is pretty amazing. This is a scrap quilt, definitely. But I like the idea of having all these different fabrics together. And some of these are just absolutely stunning. And see how the groups are together by different values and different shades, and we get the little bit of the sky blue here and the more of the bold blue here, and a little bit of the cobalt blue. So it's fun, and that's it with all these greens. It works out beautifully. But this pattern is called Geese Migration, and it's by Fons and Porter. And I'm going to show you, this is a wonderful pattern. So this is about the designer, and there's some other ideas about how you can make the block your own and not do it in the scrappy manner. There's a great detail on how to put it together. It's set on point, which is optional, but putting it on point, look at how wonderful that looks when each block is set at a diagonal instead of at a perpendicular side-to-side assembly. So here we go, and then she shows us how she quilted it, and general guidelines. Here's how to make the flying geese. When you're making this many flying geese with different fabrics, you pretty much have to make each one individually. And I want to go with the no-waste flying geese because it's fast, it's easy, and I'm just not ready to take the time to do this. But if you go to fonsandporter.com/flying geese, you can find this pattern. I think it is absolutely stunning. Now, here is something else that's new to me. When I heard the word or the description, digital fabric, all I could think of was pixelated fabric. So I didn't even look any closer. I wasn't interested. I didn't like that digital look, that pixelated look of things, and I couldn't imagine quilting with it. So when I was in Myrtle Beach last month, I hit a local fabric store, and let's see, QT Fabrics is the designer, and they had these fabrics on their shelf, and then I found the bundle. Oh my goodness, these are absolutely wonderful. And notice again, a lot of times when you get a bundle, you'll find that you get your bright, bold, you get some good contrast, and you've got some low volumes or low value. And what's nice about that is it gives you all the components you need for a quilt, because we want our focal fabric to be bold and stand out there. And we want a contrast. And if you notice in this, what stands out contrast right off are these lime greens. And it's carried into some of the other blocks. So that's perfect. So we have contrast to keep it interesting. We got another one down here. And then we have these low volumes. Now, I think I have like 5 or 6 of them. And there's some wonderful little patterns. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go find some more and buy them. Well, the only one I could find online was this swirl. So I bought, I think it's a yard of it. I'm not even sure. But just so I have extra. So if I need some extra background, then, I'm good to go. But these are just wonderful fabrics. And so I could easily do flying geese with this. I've got a lot of different colors to work with. I have these backgrounds, and I have extra of this. And remember now, I have these, I call this like a blender. It's pretty much a solid, but it has lots of little other colors with it. This would work as well. I think this would work in here. And if I want to bring a little extra pink, I could put those in. I've got these batiks. So, I guess the idea is I want to show you is don't be locked into one group. Don't be locked into one theme, one idea, one boxed in concept for your quilt, be open and receptive and pick up things that you really like and you want to add to it that's going to make it a little more interesting, but most importantly, it's going to make it unique from you, because that's where the difference is. We can all go online and find a quilt pattern and buy the same fabric and make the same quilt, and it'll be beautiful, but it's somebody else's. And that's okay, and it's a good place to start, and I've done that enough. But there comes a time when we say, all right, I want to quilt my quilts. And that's where I'm hoping you're ready to step out and take a leap of faith and see what we can come up with, because there's such fun out there to play with these quilts. So I'd be interested to know if you've worked with digital quilts, what you thought of them. I mean, from what I can see, look at these. I'm going to show you up close and personal. It's not like it's a pixelated fabric by any means. It's a beautiful weight fabric. It's really nice. It's printed, so it's just printed on the surface. It's not a batik. It's Dan Morris Design 2020, so this has been around a while. qtfabrics.com, and I love it. I think they're wonderful. And I haven't even sewed with them yet, but I would definitely get more of the digital fabrics just because they're gorgeous. There's nothing about them that I don't like. Let's put it that way. And I was hesitant because I expected something other than what's here. And this particular line, which is called Brilliance Cool, and it's a fat quarter collection of 26 pieces. And it looks like it's called a fat quarter Brilliance Speckled Cool. And it's just wonderful. Oh my goodness. I think it's so pretty. So let me go ahead and let's take another look at a pattern, a different pattern that I have. This is a pattern that I found and I saved some time ago. And ironically, this is digital fabric. I had no idea. I love it. What I love about it is the large blocks, and it's offset with a trail of wavy flying geese. And I just think that's wonderful in those bright colors. Now, this is perfect for layer cakes or fussy cutting. If you like, let's say you're doing a kid's quilt and they have some images that you want, like the dinosaurs or the fish and things like that, you can buy panels and then you can cut them apart. You can make a quilt and then you do the geese in between. And if you wanted to make it bigger, you can add more geese on either end as well as on the sides. And so it's a lot of fun. And you'll see here they have a little table runner too. Now, this is Wild Birds. That's the name of the fabric as well as the pattern, I believe. But the quilt design is by Cindy Hershey. And these are the additional fabric. So what I want to show you is this is actually made with a panel, which is why I think it'd be perfect for layer cakes. Now, this is telling you how to make it, how to do your flying geese. And what's interesting about this, remember, our geese are offset. So the geese have to sit in different positions in their block. And some are going to be to the right like this, some are going to be in the center. And it's a matter of putting it together to make them line up that way. But check this out. Look at this is how easy the quilt is to go together. And all they did is they cut their panel into a strip. They didn't even cut them apart. Use that same black fabric, which if you buy the matching black, you're not going to have any problem with it not looking terrific, and then laid it out. Now, there's actually 8 different birds per panel, and this is made with 2 panels. Oh, here's another layout of the geese. So you have the one side geese here, the other side geese, and then your center geese. And then by laying them alternately, you get your movement and have them waving. So here's the panel for this fabric. I think this fabric is wonderful. And again, it's Wild Birds. It's KG Art Studio for P&B Textiles. You've got the panel. Now, this is a double panel. The panel has 8 itself, and it looks, well, maybe it is a full panel, even though they're in different orders. I'm not really sure. I haven't bought it. But there's some great coordinating prints that go with it. I love the stripes. This, I think, would be great fun to use. These are wonderful. Oh, look at that. They're just a lot of fun. I would use these in small pieces. They're great for accents. And all of them, I mean, imagine little cornerstones in there or something like that. This is a fun pattern. And I think, you know, if you're ready to do something either with a panel or with large blocks, this is going to be a quick and easy quilt. Now here's a layer cake I've had for a bit, and this has some really fun options. What I like is, again, when you buy a pre-cut, you get all these blended colors that work well. So, you know, this is called the Indigo Garden by Heather Peterson. It's a Riley Blake design fabric. And so we have this, and then we have it stylized just a little different. So we're really going with the indigo. That's a strong color. And then these are all different embroidery stitches, which I think is wonderful. Now, we're going to have similar patterns in different colorways. This is perfect for flying geese because we're going to have some wonderful fabrics that will create great contrast throughout the quilt. And look at these. Aren't they fabulous? Oh, look at that pretty coral. So when you're going through your fabrics, consider what you have that you can use. And while some of these, there are a lot of contrast, their prints are mostly small. And when you're making flying geese and all the prints are kind of the same size, even though they're different colors, you may not get enough of a contrast. But when you bring in something like batiks like this, and you know, use colors that are a contrast, like here, if you were to use the chartreuse, or let's say, oh, here, go for the little sort of red or pink in the middle there. These go with the dark teal. So, you know, there's some fun things that you can do that way to create your contrast. Alternatively, we can use some really fun low volumes. Check these out. This is more from Sassafras Lane, and this is a curated pack from the store themselves. And they're a group of fabrics that are put together by the shop and sold as a group of, I'm pretty sure it's 15 fat quarters. And of course, what sold me is the one on top. I am such a, what do I want to say, marketing driven buyer. You show me something pretty and I'm going in for it. And I have learned, though, to look at what's underneath, because sometimes I've been surprised and go, oh, that's not quite what I had in mind. I think this will work perfect together. These wonderful colors, like I said, we've got some great little prints in here. See how these reds just get pulled out by those flowers? There's some green, there's some blues, there's some grays. There's a lot of colors in a low volume scale in these fat quarters that will work great against these layer cakes. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways to go with it. And just look through your own low volumes and see what you have. And quite honestly, look at a lot of your fabrics that are lighter in color, that don't have a lot of heavy prints. They're more spatially printed. And you may find that you have more low volumes than you thought you did. So let's go ahead and take a look at another quilt. Now, remember earlier I talked about that scrap flying geese quilt that I thought was just wonderful, but it's a lot of fabric. What I like about this one is see how this will be made in quadrants. So this square here, it has 3, 5, right? 2, 4, 6. Yep, 3, 5, and 6. And then you repeat that. They're all made exactly in the same blocks. So if you make 4 with your, like a layer cake or something, which we've done before, then you can create this block very easily. Now, this has been done in a way, it's been made in 2 colorways. So we have the greens opposing the pinks. And you can certainly do it that way. Each one can be a different color, or each of these quadrants can be a different color. So there's a lot of versatility here. Now, this is called Flying Colors, and it's an art gallery fabric pattern. It's a free pattern. So artgalleryfabrics.com, and just go to their patterns, look up Flying Colors, or I think it might be under Flying Geese as well. They have some wonderful, wonderful patterns. And so these are all the different fabrics. So when they come out with a new fabric line, they generally always have a fabric line pattern specific to those fabrics that they've designed. And that's what this particular one is. And so we have the indigos and the illusion and the asters. So there's similar companion fabric collections in different color schemes. So this is the indigo and this is the asters. And you look at all these different fabrics, you know, so there's a lot there. Again, it can be done with a scrap quilt, but I like the idea. This sort of kind of makes me a little dizzy. I kind of like the idea, see, I've got some good instructions, of just making this in a 4-patch. See how we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. For me, that's so much easier than trying to put all these strips together. Oh my goodness, I would get so confused. But see, that's the way I do things. We all learn and live in different manners. And once we know what works best for us, we're going to make the best decisions for, you know, the best results. So this is a fun quilt to consider. While we're here, I want to show you the easiest one because I thought this was really, really cool. Check this out. I'm going to make it smaller so we can see it, see the whole thing. This is called Plenum. This is also Art Gallery Fabrics. And it's done in a single colorway, which I thought was pretty. And that's a nice place to start. And that would be good, you know, if you had a layer cake or a fat quarter collection. This is only made with, let's see how many fabric. Oh, this is what was so exciting here. Let me finish what I'm saying. I get excited. I think there's 10 different fat quarters in here that are used to make this. But let me show you what else I really love about this particular layout. So we have this done in teal, right? And when we come up here, it tells us that this is the number 8 Teal Thoughts edition. So my guess is they've done this pattern previously in other colorways. And this is the half-yard version. So you would need half yards of these fat quarters. Now, I don't know if you've seen these in the stores. This is called the Color Master. And this is what Art Gallery Fabric does. They will put a group of colors together that are coordinated and will look wonderful that you can quilt with. And then they even give you a free pattern. So that's really awesome. And I'm telling you, their fabrics are fabulous. I love the touch and feel of them. Sometimes quilting fabrics can be coarse, but these are really, really nice. And I have some here I'm going to show you in just a moment. So the Color Master, and it comes in different sizes. You can get fat 8s, fat quarters, half yards. It works out really nice. But they're showing you the other editions of this fabric series. And look at these. Oh my goodness. So if you see these boxes of fabrics, the what they call Color Masters, in the shops, now you know what's inside. I've not really paid close attention to them because, again, I couldn't see them or not enough of them, and I didn't understand what they were. And you got to remember, I don't get out a lot where I am. I don't have a lot of close by quilting stores, so I rely on what I can find and research on my own. So here's the teal that's made. I just think that's a wonderful print. And this, oh, how great is that? So, and just look at these wonderful colors. And I can just see that quilt made in all these different color schemes because they're gorgeous. And then this shows you how to cut everything up, and we're making our half square triangle here, or excuse me, not our flying geese triangle, and showing us how to make it. So we've got some good directions, and we do the sewing in this particular manner, and we make strips, and we do whatever it is we need to do, and then we add some binding. So everything you need is here. There's plenty of inspiration, and this is fun. I think that's neat. And it would also be fun just to kind of do some geese at an angle. I'm not sure how easy that would be, but this is really a great pattern and offers probably the easiest first choice, but then it can be really get created into something pretty dynamic with the way you use your colors. You could do you know, each stripe of your flying geese be in different colors, or gradated colors, ombre, light to dark, things like that, and then reverse the next row. And these may have the dark geese with the white background. These can have the light geese with the dark background. You know, so there's a lot of fun things you can do. And it's just a matter of looking at what you have and going with it. Now, let me show you this group of art gallery fabrics, and then I promise we're done. Each year, Art Gallery Fabric takes its most popular prints and reproduces them in a series of one color way. Darkers, lightly colored blends that work well together. It's not like one pile of a single color, but it's that color in different tones throughout the collection. And I don't know how many different fabrics there are, but I had found a couple bundles and I bought them. And I really love how these work. And so this is called Ballerina. This is from a few years ago. I recently bought it. And I think, you know, it's a print like this that gets my attention. I love these floral sketch prints. And this is just a really fun color. Look at, we have this. Now these are probably some batiks. Yeah, these are batiks that I added to it just because I like it, but they work well. And this is probably what I would do, is take something like this, create my flying geese, use the batiks as the background. Look at those. Aren't they wonderful? Oh, they're just so pretty. And these are really great, wonderful prints. And like I said, what I love about them is how nice they feel. And it's the way it's woven. It has a finish. You know how sometimes if you've ever sewn clothing, you'll get a fabric and they'll call it a sheen, where it doesn't shine, but it has a really smooth surface and it just feels delightful. This is going to make a gorgeous quilt, so I'm really excited about that. But the other thing I came across were these low volumes. Now, these are all gray low volumes, and there's a lot that I can use that for. What I also came across was this little bundle, and you'll see that it has a lot of, well, it just sort of goes round and round, a lot of peachy colors. There's a little pink in there, but it has that toned down peach like this one does. What is this one called? Ballerina. That's the name of this series, Ballerina, which, don't you just think of ballerina shoes with that color? I think it's fun. And a lot of these prints pick up on that color, a shade this way or that. And look at these hearts. Oh my goodness, with one little pink heart right in there. That's adorable. And then we've got the crisscross and some little berries and flowers and just some great prints. So this is something else that would work. Although I have to admit, I think I'm going to go with the batiks on this one. And it may or may not be flying geese. I'm not sure. But there will be something beautiful. And so what I wanted to show you is a way to go about deciding what your next quilt will be. For me, it is the fabric. That's where I start. For you, it may be the pattern. So go out there and find a pattern you love and then pick the fabrics. But now that I know what fabrics I have, what goes together, what collections will work, what my color schemes are, what options I may have, I can pick a pattern that I want to go with, and then I'm finished. And I'm not a follow the pattern kind of person generally. My style of quilting is, okay, I'm going to make no waste flying geese, and then I'm going to do this with it. But, you know, some of those patterns that I showed you online, the free patterns available, are a great place to start. It's a confidence builder because you'll see how to make all these different patterns and different techniques. And these are from the pros. These are from the designers who created the fabric, and they want to create a pattern that's going to be beautiful and perfect for their fabric. So there's some wonderful choices there. And that's where I've been. So let's go ahead and get some ideas together. And when we're back together again and everyone, especially me, is feeling back on their game, then we'll get started quilting and make some wonderful new quilts. I can't wait. Thanks for being here. Thank you for listening to all this. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned a thing or two and found some patterns you might be interested in. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to be here. And please don't forget to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Y'all are awesome. Have a great day.